Happy New Year, everybody. I am very excited to be your host, Lyric Swinton, and I'm also very excited to kick off a new year of Matt's and Graps, but specifically Chats and Graps. This is a very special interview that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I'm going to tell you how it came about. So I went to Tokyo, Japan from December 27th. I left on the 27th and I was there until January 6th. And while I was there, just coincidentally, um, Thekla, who I'm interviewing, is she DMs me back because I DM'd her months ago, but she rarely checks her Twitter DMs. And she's just like, hey, I'd still like to do this interview. And obviously, it was originally supposed to be virtual. And I was like, hey, I'm actually in Tokyo. And so we coordinated our schedules. And so this coincidentally got to happen at a coffee shop the day after Intinyon Stardom Gate on January 4th, which was also the show where Donna Del Mondo dissolved officially. And also Thekla had announced taking her hiatus from wrestling. So there was already a lot to talk about, but there was even more to talk about. You're going to hear me say this during the actual interview, but truly she is one of the most interesting people in wrestling, and I'm very excited for what's next. And we had a great time talking before, during, and after this, but I'm excited for you all to hear it. There's a lot of interesting stuff regarding, Donna Del Mondo, how she got into wrestling, her amazing fashion decisions, including designing her own gear, as well as her goals for 2024 and, her current Stardom contract situation. So lots to get into, and I'm excited for you all to hear it. And I'm so glad that she was the first guest of 2024. And I'm excited to see what happens next for Maps and Graps, but I'm also excited for you all to see what's next for Maps and Graps. So enjoy this interview. You're one of the most interesting people in wrestling that enough people don't talk about. I remember the first time I saw you, I was like she's only in a tag team. I think that you're so fascinating and so multifaceted. And when I saw that you're from Austria and you've been here for a long time and you're a polyglot and that you have former ballerina. Yeah. And you have a arts degree. So how did you become so multifaceted?
It's so funny because you were talking about yourself being an overachiever. So I was like, well, correct. Reminds me of me. So it was this. I've always been the same. When I see something that I like, that interests me, I just get a little obsessed with it, and I just yo, I want to do that. Yeah. So when I was a kid, I remember as soon as I could, draw, I started to draw things, and I got into fashion. I started to draw this fashion design, which is kind of the base for me doing my costumes now in wrestling. Then I wanted to be a journalist, so I started to write, and I was doing theater. So basically everything in the creative direction. That's always been my thing. My dad used to work at a theater at Vienna's biggest stage theater. So I would be backstage a lot, and I was always, you can smell the backstage, and the actors are so, how do you say it? Impressive. Yeah, how they act. And I would always watch that, and it's just, and it's very similar actually to the backstage of the rest of the theater. Right? My mom is a painter, so she would she does these beautiful oil paintings, and they made me start music very early, so I used to create the violin when I was a little kid, so it's just very, very art-based and very creative, so, but always super active too. So I was always jumping from one thing to the next kind of, now I want to do music, now I want to play in a band, now I want to be a journalist and make, have a school's newspaper and be the head of that, you know. And now I want to direct a movie or whatever, you know. So when I finally I got into art, and there it was the same thing. It was just like I was playing in a band, not really doing what I was supposed to do, but just everything else, like drawing comics, you know, and like obviously kind of a rebel always against like what I was supposed to do. And then I found wrestling. At first I was a fan too. I was there was this underground wrestling thing, like super, like a little slightly trashy, like but you know, it's like really, it's like in a Vienna underground and cellar, and we'd watch these like really like backyard matches, but the energy was so crazy. You know, everybody was putting like. It's hard to compare because obviously that quality is different. But the what you were saying earlier, how people were doing it with the heart, you know, putting it in there. Like, I mean, it was just in such a high energy place, you know, and the audience was like that too. It was still, I've wrestled in a lot of places in Japan, but energy wise, it's not comparable. And people would be so into it, and that kind of, at some point, I just woke up and I was talking to my friends who were also like wrestling fans, and everybody was into music, so we were all performers, right? Or in the entertainment and like business, more or less. So we were all just like one night, hey, we should all become wrestlers. What do you say? You know? And I already had like a very sporty background as a dancer, I was doing martial arts when I was as a young teenager. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. And from especially like WWE style, you know, like just the presence everybody has, like, you know, this just standing on the ground, both feet, you know, and being somebody. That reminded me of, you know, being in a punk band and just claiming that spot, especially as a woman, you know what I mean? And that intensity, I was like, yeah, I think I could do that, and I tried it. So I talked to the underground wrestling people, right? It was like, because there wasn't much other stuff around, and I all of my friends obviously said, "Fuck that! I'm not doing that," because we kind of had like we almost made it like a bet. Yeah, you know, we're all like that, and like high five, and yeah, we're all gonna become wrestlers. And then the next day it was like hungover, it's like shit, I'm never had to not do that. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this. So I went to training. It was obviously so extreme, so intense. When was this? That was in 2016. Okay, my first like early 2017, I started to train, and in 2017 I had my debut in the Vienna underground. It was kind of almost like a bit, you know. It was like this fits everything else I do, like drawing the comics and putting on like punk shows, like being like crazy artist. I was like, let's put being a wrestler to, you know. It was to me, that was the ultimate, most natural thing, you know. Also being out there after my debut, being in front of a lot of people, and I got like feeding off that energy and just like kicking people in the face. I was like, I like that a lot. This is pretty good. Very punk rock. Rock, you know. That's how it started out. Obviously now it's a completely different story, you know. But that's what at the beginning got me into being. And coming back to what I was saying earlier, when I found wrestling, I was like, wow, this includes so many of the things that I'm into, you know. Like coming up with a persona, you know, like a character, how like the fits, how am I supposed to look, how do I do my makeup, how do I do my hair, you know, writing my song, like my theme song, it's still the same theme song. So
you wrote your theme song?
Yeah, it's my you know that there's like this voice humming in the beginning. That's my voice. The guitar, I play that myself.
So how many instruments do you play?
Oh, only guitar. Oh, violin, yeah. Okay, but both not good. Guitar, I play very fast, but not good.
So did you sing as well in the band?
Yeah. I was singing, and I'm good at writing songs. So, like I'm good with coming up with catchy melodies, but technically, tiny hands. Nothing I can do.
Listen, I was always a voice person because I'm not a great instrument. Well, I did mellophone. I can play French horn. Cool. But that's it. No strings. I can't do strings at all.
Yeah, I tried, but I just don't have.
You gotta have uncomfortable. You have to have really, I think, strong hands.
Yeah,
But and like yes, I get it.
Playing guitar, I'd cramp up after the first song, and I'd just be in bed like, yo, 10 minutes, I'm out.
And so, you talked about the punk rock, and then you talked about, so like, one thing that I've learned in wrestling, especially like over the past few years, like getting back into it, there's like a really, I think, cool pipeline between theater kids and wrestling. And like, I love musical theater, and like, I remember in high school, like I co-wrote like one of our school musicals in high school. And it's so funny that she said like being like editor-in-chief of the school newspaper, because I did that too. I think there's like such a weird crossover, but it's really cool, between the creative kids.
I feel like there's that kind. There's people who come here, and obviously also it all mixes up, and I like that. But you've got people who have more the sports-based background, people who come from like American football or something like that. And then you've got people who really have an image, who know how to tell a story, which is extremely important, which is, in my opinion, the base of everything. So that's that. I think that's very interesting.
I remember last night at Wrestle Kingdom, I was watching Will Ospreay's entrance, and I remember he talked about being and growing up in theater as a kid, and how his mom, I think was like a theater teacher, and I was like, you can see like the influence. You can always tell, I think, when a wrestler has like that theater background, or because I think there's it's an attention to detail. With the presentation that, some people have and some don't. And I think that you're one of those people, you can always see that attention and detail. One thing I've always been personally obsessed with, like when it comes to you, is your gear. Like, and I think especially these last couple that you've done have been absolutely excellent. So when you're designing, what's that process like? And I think, like, when you put the toxic spider together, like that specific character, and then that along with the presentation, because I think that your presentation, specifically 2023, was so, like, fantastic. So, like, what's that thought process like when you're putting all of that together?
Of course, I always start with what I like. That's the most important thing. So there are certain colors that I'm really into, but then there's something that catches my attention. I see something on the internet, or I go on, Pinterest, So it's like a mix of, oh shit, I want to do something in that direction. It looks really cool. That could be perfect for a toxic spiral, So I collect images basically, and then I kind of start forming something that it could go in this direction. That could be like a base color or whatever. At the same time, I start going to like a fabric store, and I go look at all the fabrics, and then I feel everything, and I take pictures of the stuff that I like, and then I'll choose stuff, and I'll put it together and see if that's gonna work, So, and then I start to design, and then I just go on my iPad and start drawing. I'm just like, okay, could I use this? Could I use that? Basically, and then I try to, if the end result, I try to think, okay, does this look like Star? And is this gonna, and does it fit Toxic Spider? Those are the two things that I'm trying to look for. It needs to be, I always try to include stuff that is like repeating stuff. Usually you will find like studs, or like 4 big studs here, or like the snake skin has been something I've been using, or the big spider in the back. Like, you always find a lot of leather and fur also from now on. So that, and the other thing is, do I look like a star? What a star where it is, you know what I mean? So is this a fit for, I don't know, even like a Doja Cat, you know what I mean? Like, is this silly, or is this like hot?
Especially, the new album, Scarlet, with the spider. So is that an inspiration for you?
I like that stuff a lot. Yeah, I think her, like, because she changed her character a lot. You know? Yeah, I mean, like her visual representation. Before that, I did not care at all about those again. But now look at like when she shaved her head and everything, and now the direction she's gone, it's I love that. This is brilliant. This is this perfect mix of I do not give a fuck what you think about me.
Exactly.
And she's still got that pretty face, you know, and she's like super curvy, and she knows how to use her sex appeal. It's like a mix of really edgy, but also like hot and cool, and that is definitely like an inspiration to me because that's the kind of edge that I'm trying to put into my stuff to obviously do it my way. But man, I'm waiting for the day where I'm just gonna shave my head and just
oh my god, you know, like, so do you like do the sewing too, or do you do the just design?
I would.
So you just send it off, and then
I have to, but it's really a process because when like costume makers hate me because I'm really like, look, it has to be like this and that. No, and you know,
well, you know, like, and it's so intricate, and I think like the most recent ones is like so many straps and stuff, like, you know, interlocking, which I love, by the way, because I think like it's always these subtle elements constantly tying back to the toxic spider, and so it's like all these like these spider webs, but it looks sophisticated and it's feminine, and it really comes across like I think a lot of the things that you're trying to get across. And so, Donna Del Mondo, how has being in the faction, well, formerly being in the faction, which we'll get to, how has that really kind of like helped you craft who you are as a wrestler? How does that fit into, you know, the presentation of you?
Yeah. I think it has changed me a lot, actually, because when I first came to Stardom, I had a whole different vibe to me. And yeah, it's more like, yeah, let's fucking go, bitches, you know, which I do like. That's like that's what comes out naturally, you know. But being in Donna Del Mondo has like calmed me down a lot more. People who know me very well, they say like, you know, the Thekla you see in the ring is a lot. It's like the toned down version of her, basically, because outside of the ring she's a fucking crazy, you know, just freak. But what I learned was like being around Julia and Mike, you know, it's like, you know, looking like a star and acting like, you know, like a little reserved to, you know, looking cool, looking like, you know, being beautiful to. These are, and those are important things if you want to appeal to a huge crowd, you know. So I've like being big, you know, all the costumes, the gowns, you know. It's like at first I would come
beautiful coats.
That's what I'm saying, you know. So at first I came in with like slick, like, you know, like stuff like leather coats and stuff, which I really like. But next to them I'd be like, I'm tiny. Where's my stuff? You know what I mean? So like with that last one, I finally went like. Well, the one before to the white and black, right? So that gave me a little bit of volume. So like being big, you know, being larger than life. That's kind of, you know, looking at, especially at Julia, was like, all right, I gotta add some stuff here and there, you know, like claim some space for myself. So, and that's really important, I think. Other than that, in the future, I would like to do a mix, you know, like have that like weird edginess that I originally had, you know, like as a toxic spider, but combine it with like that larger than life from, how do you say, like a way of carrying yourself, you know, which is from Donna Del Mondo. So that's what I'm gonna aim for in the future.
And so you talked about taking some time off.
Yeah.
So how did you come to that decision? You know, taking a step back.
Well, there's a few things. Definitely, you see the Stardom schedule, right? It's really extreme. I think Stardom did like 140 shows last year. Something I had more than 100 matches. And I've been here for 4 years, you know, and I barely ever take time off. The Japanese girls are a little bit more used to it because they've got this like crazy like work ethic, you know. I do too, naturally, but sometimes I get tired too, you know. I'm kind of think I haven't been home in 1.5 years, so maybe I hope to get back during that time, you know. But doing 100 110 matches a year kind of takes its toll, especially with the Stardom style. You know, it's just not WWE. You know how everybody's here, how everybody's working, and the way we're traveling too. So, and yeah, it's just your body starts to kind of, you know, also. I mean, every match you can feel it afterwards, and so I was like, okay, I could feel Donna Del Mondo there might be coming to an end, and I quickly thought maybe that's the perfect time to just go away for a little while and also like refill my creative tank, you know, because what I'm gonna start doing today is I'm gonna start drawing my next gear set, you know. So
super exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I already have some stuff ready, and my mom just sent me a box of like new fabrics and some white fur. So might be doing something in that direction. And we're going to be painting a lot. So I've got an exhibition coming up in April.
Oh my gosh. So is that going to be in Japan or?
That's going to be in Tokyo. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but I hope I can do it in Austria too. Also taught this to some people in New York, so I want to travel around. So I've got my, you know, depending on how much time I'm taking off, it's going to be me being in the studio, like drawing.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect time, I think, for you to like figure out who you are as an individual performer. Yeah. And so now that Donna Del Mondo is over and you're looking forward to what, like, your next chapter, what do you hope to convey, like, you know, when you do return to the ring? Like, are you looking to do more international dates? Are you looking to any specific roles in Stardom? Are there any dream opponents? Like, what does singles wrestler Thekla look like?
I'm gonna, well, first of all, having that freedom of not having to react to my teammate is gonna be it's nice for me. I'm originally a lone wolf kind of character. I'm a singles wrestler. I love being in Donna Del Mondo because I have to learn about from the people around me. But just naturally, I like to do things my way.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be very, how do you say, like, freeing. And I have a creative vision of how things supposed to be done and how to excite people, and I have to be by myself to do that, you know. Also, like, talk similar to like a Doja Cat or a Lady Gaga, just a little off, a little bit like, what is that, you know? I want to play around with things, and I've always dreamed of coming up with something that nobody's ever seen. Like, you can see my moveset. I think it's one of the most original creative moveset.
Absolutely, 100%.
I know how to use my body in a way, like, and I've got freakishly, you know, the hyper flexibility and stuff, and that's just how I was born. But I know how to use that, and I want to go back a little bit more to that. So creating new things that people haven't seen before, like the spider flex, you know, from the rope, you know, where I come up, that sort of stuff, where people go, hey, only she can actually really do that. You know what I mean? And create a style of also like storytelling, the way I, you know, how I have like a little weird way of moving in the ring too. You know, I kind of wanna bite more into that, into these small things. When it comes to what dreams, I love Stardom. I love being in Japan, and Japan is my base, but I've really been dreading also to get out of Japan and take it to the other countries, right? I went to Singapore last year. That was brilliant. That is just showing, you know, feeling the love from international fans is so cool, and getting to showcase what we do here in Japan is really nice. So definitely want to go to the States this year and experience a lot of stuff outside of the Japanese bubble. Yeah. And also change up my style a little bit, because I think American style is very, very different.
Very different.
We're very different, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. But I always feel like, well, I love learning, and I love studying new things, and then I love to pick from different things, you know, and then mix it up. That's really important for me, and that's what I need to stay inspired. Yeah. And I've been in Japan a little bit too long, you know what I mean? Like, I know how it works here. I know how it's done. I know what strong style is like, and I need to get inspired by something new again. So I wanna, and the other thing is I want to wrestle in a lot of weird place. Just like that's like me for America. We got some weird places for you. We got some weird places for you. America, yes, but I'm also thinking like I would love to wrestle in Cambodia, you know, or like Nepal, you know, like take it to places where people I've never seen wrestling. Yeah, like have that interesting cultural exchange. You know, it's like I would like to show. I'd like to see that expression on people's face when they see something for the first time. They're like, "What is this?" And wow, you know, like you know, just create experiences for people that they're never gonna forget. And I love Japan, but I feel that people are like very oversaturated here. You know what I mean? Yeah, because there's so much wrestling, there's so much great wrestling, you know. So I think it's a little unfair to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think the rest of the world needs to experience, not to spider.
Exactly.
And I think your style, I remember seeing you in person yesterday, and like when you do the thing on sit on the turnbuckle, I said your core strength is insane. Like no, I mean, like you're completely right. Nobody else can really do what you do. And the thing about the American style is that it might not be as, I think, technically, proficient, I think, as with Japanese style, of course. But I think for somebody as creative as yourself, there's so much more opportunity to really expand like that character, to really think outside the box, exactly, with your presentation and stuff. So like, I'm not sure when you'll return from your hiatus, but do you think that you'll be in the building for that Stardom show in the U.S. Potentially?
I hope so. I really hope so. So I haven't looked into it yet, but they know that I'm really interested in going abroad and going to the States.
That's in Philly too.
I've made that very clear, exactly. And so I don't know yet what's planned for that, but I would love to go. Oh, sure. You were talking about drinking phone.
Yeah.
So one in the mix is obviously Mercedes.
Absolutely.
You know, she looks like a star, and I love her style, and that's just somebody I would love to be in the ring with. Especially after meeting her briefly at Stardom. And just such a nice person. She's got the look, you know. It's a look.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of really like targeting right now. You know, people who have that like a similar mindset when it comes to that. Yes. And well, Athena we were talking about.
Absolutely. I think your styles would really like complement each other.
Yeah, maybe we're even just similar, you know what I mean? But that's somebody I would love to hang out with. Who else did we have? Indiana. WWE, not so much right now. I mean, obviously Charlotte Flair's a fantastic wrestler. They've got brilliant wrestlers like Becky Lynch, but I mean, they're very full there too. You know? Like at WWE, I never saw myself there. And when like growing up as a wrestler, because I'm way too much like I get really annoyed when somebody tells me what to do. Yeah. But only recently I thought that could be so interesting to be able to learn from the best, because they have like brilliant coaches and just performance centers there. So that's really interesting. But again, AEW is really cool because they give people a lot of freedom, you know what I mean? And I feel like the product is still developing. Yeah. So and there's space for everything and for a lot of like creative people too, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's really something that I would like to look into.
I think there's a lot of space in AEW specifically to show people what women's wrestling can look like. I think that, you know, there's there's so many different styles. Like I think about somebody like Jamie Hayter, who came in and like just did big. Absolutely. And like, you'll have like people like Hikaru Shida, you have Mariah May, who just recently like, you know, debuted. And
exactly, I saw that. Yeah. And we used to have a lot of fun in Stardom.
Yeah, Stardom Queendom. When her and Xena kidnapped you, that was one of my favorite Stardom moments last year. By a landslide, when they kidnapped you. I think you all sold it so well. Like, you just seemed so unhappy.
I was unhappy.
So unhappy. I think that was just so great. Like, I think that just a very like great contrast. I think between you two, and I think one thing that I've learned about like the American audiences, especially like watching Mariah's debut specifically this week, when they see people come from that Stardom background and like, especially from a wrestling perspective, they love it. Yeah, they love Jamie. Yeah, like they love Mariah, and so I think that like, you know, the in-ring and then when you have like the presentation on top of it, it's just like that's. I mean, you get so older
because they are bringing real wrestling, absolutely good, like a high quality wrestling to the ring. You know, to American audiences who are. I mean, there's a lot of great women's wrestlers out there, you know, but it's
accustomed to a certain style.
Exactly. Yeah. That too, you know. So that's what I'm talking about. It's this mixing up, you know. You learn over there, you take certain things and bring it over there. The hard hitting, like no bullshit kind of thing. That's really cool, you know. So. Yeah, it's really good to have them out there. I'm really excited to see what Mariah's going to be doing in the future, too.
Have you been keeping your eyes on the New Japan Strong Women division or at all?
Yeah, I've been, like, Julia's Strong title. I've been hearing that for a long time. Yeah, I'm not going to.
It's a beautiful purple belt.
It is a beautiful purple belt. Julia's a great champion in the wrestler, and obviously it was, like, being in, like, her tag partner and being
at the Independence Day show.
Yeah, that's right. But being with her in the mix, it's kind of, I mean, not hard. I could have still like challenged for it, but it's like, it's you know, you don't want to be
exactly.
So that's why yesterday I was also like, you know, I was patting the belt a little bit, like, you know, this might be something coming up. Definitely, that's a cool belt. Not only beautiful, but just the people who have challenged for it so far, and where like the way the belt gets to travel. I would like to be part of that.
It's been in some cool places. It's been Philadelphia, Las Vegas.
Exactly.
Probably going to be in California soon for Battle in the Valley.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to, like, you know, get to know that American audience. Yeah, still wrestling, you know, that style that, you know, like you're accustomed to.
So that's perfect for me. That's what I'm thinking.
You've been one of probably the most dedicated foreigner, I think, in Stardom over the last few years, especially since COVID.
I mean, I was lucky, obviously, because there was nobody really had the possibility to go to Stardom, because I was brave enough to stay throughout COVID in Japan and make this my base. I was Ice River, you know. So and I already knew Julia. But we had worked together in Ice River. So when we reconnected, that was kind of. I hadn't even thought about going to Stardom, but when, like, you know how things just fall into place. I was like, I felt like I had done enough time in Ice River, and I kind of like graduated. You know, I moved out of the dojo, got my own place in Japan, and he was also like, okay, wow, I'm living here now. You know, I'm paying rent here. I'm not living at the dojo in my little room. You know, it's like, okay, I'm here and I gotta do stuff. And I felt like, okay, I think I'm ready for the big leagues now. You know, so when I reconnected with Julia, and she was like, hey, you're pretty good. I saw your stuff. You want to come to Stardom? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go.
So you, I think a lot of people say that they want to go to Japan. Yeah, especially a lot of foreigners. Like, I want to wrestle in Japan. What do you think is something that people either underestimate about the process, or something that you think people should know before they say that they want to come in Japan?
I think a lot of people want to come to Japan, as to say, and it's because it's cool, because it's exotic in a way, and when you go back, it kind of feel like a made man, you're a made woman, you know what I mean? When you can say, I've been in Japan, you know, but it's not. It's easy to come here for a little while, I think. I mean, I wouldn't even say easy. I've seen a lot of people struggle like hell also, because the culture is so different, and it can really mess with your brain when you don't understand what people are saying all the time. You know, you have to be really based and cool and try to learn and always be open for communication. You know, if you once you like shut down, it's really hard. You have to always have to be like fluid, flexible. You know what I mean? So. It can be a great experience, but you have to be a hard worker, and you have to be humble, and you have to be polite. But the longer you stay here, for example, for me, it was at first it was the most natural thing ever. Like the first time, and that was before COVID. The first time I stepped into the ice ribbon dojo, I was like something that had hit me like lightning, and I was like this is the place. This is the spot. It smelled like, I don't know, it was like a hot summer, way too hot, you know. And the houses are kind of like the ice ribbon dojo is made of like a thin metal like walls or something, and then the floor was, because they had a little gym, and it's like these thick plastic like foam mats, you know, and everything heats up, and you get this weird like smell of like plastic and foam, and it was like, I love it. I was like, I'm staying here, you know. So it's for me at first I was like that's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to think about anything else. I love the solitude all of a sudden coming right from my art school days, you know, where everything is super in your head, and you know you gotta talk about art all the time. I was like, no, I'm not gonna use my brain like this right now. I'm gonna use my body, you know, like learn how to express myself like that, you know. And just train like 6 hours a day, you know. I was really into that, and but obviously also during COVID it can be draining too. You know, you're far away from your family. I didn't have any friends here yet. You know, I had to work on all of these things. I don't speak the language, so I was like, okay, buckle up, girl. We're gonna stay here for a while, you know. But obviously there's ups and downs, you know. For me, I've lived in a lot of different countries before, so I know what it's like to adapt to a new culture. But when you in Japan, I feel like I almost did it too much at a certain point, you know. So because I was here for so long, I kind of forgot where I actually come from, and that's really important, you know. When you start to adapt too much, you just like always lose a little bit of yourself, you know, because you have to walk towards people, and for that you have to give up or ignore how you used to do things or what you're actually accustomed to, and that can cause like say trouble, you know what I mean. So you always have to know who you are, and stick to your guns when in critical moments, and that can be confusing to people, and you know, after a while if you're cut up culturally from where you're usually, you know, your base. That's when people start to struggle here. It's really having a balance, you know, that sweet spot, or like just being cool with going back every now and then. Reconnect, which I didn't do for a while. It made me a little crazy here, but it's part of the game, you know, man.
So you talked about learning the language. So how hard was that? I know you know a lot of languages, but obviously Japanese is a whole different you know, ball game. So like, how was that, and how long did it take for you?
So because how we doing?
I'm good.
Oh, do you want another? Are you still good?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, okay. I might get a refill because it should be for free.
Oh, they do free refills?
I think they do. I got seen kind of I think at least they used to. And then here, let's go. Yeah, see, what do we keep over there? Behind us. So, sorry, what was the question again?
I was saying how
Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like when you learn a lot of instruments or you learn a lot of different sports. It's kind ofはい。リズムがありますか？はい。リセオ。おかわり？ありがとうございます。はい。同じものでお願いしました。That's right. Hanging when it was loud, you know, nights. Yes. I would log my night, so we'll go. And we had a time that it's called out. Mate, Tutski. Look, stuff I just get us tonight. That thing. So, only for everyone in the idea. Right. Fine, okay. Not sure if it's on that house. Maybe they did that when they first opened. I don't see it. Anyway.
It's fine. I'll get another one. It's fine.
So yeah, once you figure out how language is like, how to learn a language, it's a little easier. And for me, when I have passion for something, it doesn't even feel like work. It just comes naturally. So it's hard. I was taking a few classes, and I have a tutor who is a good friend of mine, who was Austrian, who used to live in Japan and study Japanese. So he's a real good teacher. So we do like Zoom calls during COVID. Sometimes I would have a match in the evening, and I'd be done around 8, and we clean up at 9, and then 9:30 I'm already calling my tutor, and we're like in the Japanese class for 2 hours, and so I was like I'd pass out. So you gotta stay on it. There was turning points after 2 years of like learning vocabulary and like getting the basics done. That was easy. But like speaking like fluently and like having like a nice chit chat with your friends, that came when I first moved out of the dojo. And so I moved into my old apartment, and it was close to the dojo, so the girls would sometimes, like after the shows, like, hey, you got a new place? Shall we go there for drinks? Well, you cool? So the girls would come over to my place, and then we just have a few drinks until the morning, and that's when it's so easy. You got one or two beers, and it's like all the insecurity of making mistakes just kind of fades away, So that's when I really started to learn how to speak because I didn't care, and we'd just be shooting shit until the morning.
What's been your favorite brand of beer since you've been here?
It's hard because I'm not super, like, Japanese beer is cold, and I'm not super into it compared to because I come from a beer country, like Germanic countries are really good with their beer. So
first country I've ever been there was Germany.
Yeah.
So like I feel like after you've had German beer, everything else is kind of
it's like the opposite of Bud Light. And Japanese somewhere in between.
Yeah,
I think Japanese beer. And recently I've been into Thai beer. Thai beer is pretty cool. So Singa is pretty good. Our mango beer, I'm freaking on mango beer right now.
Mango?
Yeah, mango beer.
I'm
not ashamed that I like sweet.
I like the what is that? When I went to Germany, the Radlers.
Dude, don't tell anybody, but I love good Radlers.
They might have 1% alcohol content, but they're so good.
Well, that's why my friends would be shitting on me, like, that's not beer. Put that down. But I'm like, I love that stuff.
I love a good Radler.
And like with the lemonade.
Yeah,
that's good.
I love a good Radler. I bought I still haven't drank it yet, but I had bought a Sapporo because that's the beer they always have, like, backstage in New Japan. I will always see them on TV. So I'm going to try it. Hopefully it's good.
Is it Sapporo?
Yeah, Sapporo.
Yeah, those are all good. Sapporo is pretty good. What else is there? Asahi is pretty good too, I think. Yeah, so you can't really go wrong with, like,
those are sitting in my mini fridge right now. So that's going to be my toast tonight before I leave. So that's going to be that.
So these ads are really working.
Hey, the product placement, it's working on somebody.
Yeah.
Because for foreigners, we don't know. So when we come here, like, whatever's on TV, like, that's what we're drinking, where we're gonna eat.
Exactly.
But you talked about Donna Del Mondo.
Yeah.
What have you learned from each of your teammates? Because I feel like all of them are completely different.
Yes.
All of them offer something completely different. Yes. And also Donna Del Mondo, all-star faction, the best, just the simple period. So what do you think you've learned from each of your teammates? And also, like, how do you feel about the faction, dissolving, and what's next?
With Micah, I think with Micah, can only do Micah, and I really appreciate I feel that's really cool. She's always natural, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's really, she's just being herself, and that is just really good at that. So likable, never fake, and very consistent with what she does, and just a damn power, It's beautiful to watch her work, and she never backs down either. So I like that about Micah. She's natural, she's powerful, and just out there. And with Sakurai, it's kind of funny because she started out as the weakest, you know, but in kind of found herself in the character, which is really cool. And I really admire how she just takes the mic and just makes the people come up for her, you know. So I don't always understand it because it's so based on like little jokes, you know. But she's one of them who's like, how do you say? She's really eager to learn, and she's very brave, and she's really tough actually. Can't really tell, but she puts a lot of work into her stuff too. You know, she really wants to. She always asks everybody for their opinion, you know, and takes notes, and so that's very inspiring. And then Julia, of course, is kind of the queen, you know. She's the all-rounder. I think for watching her, she's one of the people with she's one of the most self-confident people I've ever met in my life. And I've met a lot of confident people in my life. But there's almost nothing that can stop her from knowing that she's the best, you know. And she always puts the work in. If it's in the ring or if it's her appearance, you know, she's got the look. We've got a similar taste also. Always been like that. Yeah. And but her, she's really, and she never complains. Even if she goes through the hardest matches, she wipes off the blood and she's like, I'm cool, I don't care. You know, she's just a bad motherfucker. So that's definitely inspiring. But for me, I always think of myself as a pretty self-confident person. But you know, sometimes there's a challenge where it's, I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one, man. But with Julia, it's like I almost never see like this flinching of her just being like, you know, she just goes straight into things and she's being herself and she doesn't take shit from anybody, and she will fight anybody inside and outside of the ring. Yeah, when not physically outside of the ring, but when it's about what she believes in. She's got strong beliefs, and I really respect that. It's really cool. And she just knows how to go her own way. And I'm similar with that, but she's rich, no bullshit. And I really respect people like that.
I got it from like thinking. I like him whether it's always what shoot it. As a ways to read. I thought of it in that it was dying now. She done of it in by now.
I think after the others on yours.
That would be happen, but all is facing.
I was gonna say that one thing that I've always really liked when I first started watching Stardom, I think Donna Del Mondo is my first favorite faction, and I think one thing I really like about Mafia Bella specifically is that you really do look so confident of just like, you walk in the room like, y'all aren't shit. Yeah. And you can tell from, truly, and you can tell from like the presentation you should wear. And I think that's why presentation is so important, because like, before you even get in the ring, it feels like y'all are it.
Yeah. And somehow, like, her energy and my energy together is just the coolest fucking game you'll see. You know? Like, I've talked to people who saw, like, a Stardom show, and they was like, yo, what stuck with me is just that entrance. You know, it's not even the match. It's crazy.
You almost just put the guns up. They were like,
and that was like, and before presser, and was like, yo, what can we do? What's gonna fit? And I just had a gun, and then we were just playing around with like, what about this, and then that, and then it's like. And then later we added like all of that stuff. I mean, you do ghost stuff, it's always gonna come out cool. It's really, you know. But I came up with the Mafia Bella name, right? And that was me sitting down for like a whole evening while I was traveling to Kyoto, and just sitting by the water and just coming up with names. That's one of my favorite things. And then I sent her like three possible names, like what about this or that, and then she was like right away like, that's the one. It's like, okay, cool. And then, I mean, that's more or less, that's some of the most interesting works in coming up with a world, you know, this whole like vibe. So me and Julia together, we had like good always good back and forth. Yeah. Like let's do this and let's walk like that and let's pace it here and let's wear this. Especially our first run, we were crazy with the outfits.
Yeah. It always felt like, how do I say it? Donna Del Mondo always felt like this femme fatale type.
Yeah, and I love that
faction. I love it. Like it's almost. You ever seen like the movie Salt?
Salt?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh, it was a movie with Angelina Jolie where she's like a femme fatale. Like, yes, that's the kind of vibes like the 90s or something. Yeah, or like really as yes, like it gives that kind of it gives that type of vibe. Which I think is really cool in wrestling because I think like. Women have always been typecast and like studying in different roles, especially in Stardom. Like, you know, you have like your idol types, and then like you'll have like you have the audio type. It's just like the super heel types, but it's just like this. It's like sexy killers.
Yeah, you think exactly. Like a confidence, like but no bullshit, as I was saying earlier. It's really easy in Japan. Everybody loves the idol culture. It's so easy to go in that direction. You know, Julia hates that shit, and I hate that shit. You know, there's nothing wrong with people doing that.
It's just not you. It's
It's not. I don't believe that's the only like stereotype or role model that should be out there. You know. So it's not badass, you know. And I would love it if there were more badass girls coming up with new generations. You know what I mean? I'm always for diversity, you know, and everybody should express themselves the way they are.
Absolutely.
Even though it's always gonna sell more if you're running around in a little tutu dress and. You know, it's like I've done that in the ice strip and it kills me. It's like I can't do it anymore. But yeah, it was. It's gonna create a hole also in Stardom, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are going to change. I don't know how, but I mean, I think Queen's Quest has that a little bit too. I mean, Utami's got a lot of like drip when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, you know.
But other than that, I don't know.
I'm a sucker for a good coat. Like I think. I mean, you know, like I think Japanese wrestling is very emphasis on coats.
Yeah, for sure.
Insurance jackets, and so like Queen's Quest, they really have that. Yeah. So, I think that, up until, yesterday, I felt like there was such a cool balance with the factions of just all these portrayals and what womanhood looks like. You know, like, Audio Tie, they don't give a fuck. You have with Cosmic Angels, play, and then you have Club Venus, which feels like an international, marketplace, and then you have Stars, and you have Queen's Quest, and so you have God's Eye.
Yeah.
I think losing Donna Del Mondo is definitely going to create a hole. So would you ever join another faction? And if so, which one would it be?
That's such an interesting question because I'm obviously it's so fresh now.
Yeah.
But it's very, very tough. But for now, I really want to rediscover what's inside of me. There are some, as I said, like Utami's got drip, it's really cool. But I feel like she's got a different vibe, a very different vibe than I do.
Yeah,
Queen's Quest.
Yeah, it's a different Queen's Quest and Donna Del Mondo. Very different type of powder. Yeah, both powerful, but it's a different. It's more energy.
It's more like a femme fatale, a little bit like almost illegal, badass.
Yeah,
Del Mondo was. We don't scare back from having it's about winning. It was like punched in the face with a closed fist. Sorry, you didn't see that, right? I mean, that's Donna Del Mondo. That's not really a Queen's Quest. They're like the hero types.
Yes,
and absolutely. They're a little bit like it's anti-hero.
Anti-heroes. It's like the almost like the Stone Cold type character, and like the badass.
We're killers, and if we have to, we're not afraid to go to prison for shit. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be worth it. You know what I mean? But not necessarily bad guys like Oedo Tai. Mm-hmm. So I think the old Spider could have also fit in that very well in Oedo Tai.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that's the case now. So although I always vibe with dark side stuff, I think Oedo Tai right now is really, I think they're schoolyard bullies kind of thing. It's not, I think kids, that's cool, but not for me. And then Club Venus, No. Sorry. Cosmic angels,
No.
Sorry. God's eye, they're all very strong, but they're almost too serious, I think. Yeah, that's, which I mean, I love a good technical style, and Shirley's amazing, obviously, but they don't have that swag, So I don't know, man. I think hopefully there's maybe gonna be new people coming in or whatever. But my focus is I'm just gonna be doing me for a while, and I'm gonna see which style I'm gonna go for once I come back. It's probably strong because that's what I feel connected to the most. And then we'll see. I want to travel a lot, so.
Are there any foreigners that you would like to see come into Stardom, possibly?
Hell yeah. I would love to have Masha Slamovich come in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's the original badass.
I heard she had a kick-ass match yesterday. I haven't gotten to see it yet.
I saw the highlights. We met when she was Marvelous and I was Master-Driven during COVID. So at first I was really scared because she's got this if you say the wrong thing, I'm gonna kill you kind of vibe, But we got along super well. So I'd love to have her because she's got this badass, I think, series out. And
she might have been a good fit for Donna Del Mondo.
That's what That's what I'm saying. Badass, I drink your blood if I have to. I think that's fucking cool, and it's real. I'd love for her to come out. Other than that, you see, I never got to meet so many people from outside, but the pure tides. I have to think about that. But if I could guess her in, that'd be already cool, So like teaming up with her or something like that could be sweet.
So it's funny that you said drinking blood and stuff like that. Are there any match types that you've never had? Because I think the Japanese style sometimes is a bit limited as far as the stipulations and stuff. Are there any match types that you would love to have?
I like a good grudge match, so I would love to be feuding with somebody, especially if it's somebody who's an idol, somebody who's the complete opposite of me. I would love to stalk somebody like that and just take them to their limits and then have a grudge match. When it comes to stipulations, I like I quit match, which could be a billion for, a grudge match too. It's making somebody say it out loud. I'm done. I have had enough. That's really cool. I call it up. And that's stuff that I was doing in Ice Ribbon too, stipulation matches. I've been in one death match, which was I'm really good with. I don't know, those old school Great Muta matches.
Yeah,
that's my stuff. When I first saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
that really inspired me to think outside of the box and just look at an object, anything. Just what can I do with this, and just pick it up to hurt somebody.
Anything could be a weapon.
Exactly. So I'd find the weirdest stuff under a ring, and just crawl onto them real quick and just stab it people in the head with that, And that's kind of stuff, being smart and making it work, and just surprising people. But oh my God, I did not think you could torture somebody with that,
So you're not opposed to Crimson Mask?
No, I'm not. But I don't like.
It has to make sense.
It has to make sense. I don't like just using stuff for the hell of it. I'm not a guy. I'm not a person that's like, yeah, sure, let me eat that laptop because why not? That's not really. That's not how you tell a story, Fry.
Absolutely.
I think it's based on emotion. I wanna hurt somebody because she hurt me back.
Absolutely.
That's why the most fun I've had recently was getting into Nuts Boy's face, having that, the little stare down of the fuck you thing, so we
fantastic, by the way. That I've watched that video over and over again. Fantastic stuff. And I think with modern wrestling, because we get so much stuff is available.
Yeah.
I think everybody is trying to stand out.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes trying to stand out, some people try to stand out and be like, oh, let me do more weapons or let me do more blood. But I do think the storytelling element has to be there. For example, I think the Queen's Quest, Oedo Tai,
that was brilliant.
Steel Cage match, And it was brilliant because the storytelling was there.
Yeah. Well, was he called because of the cage? No. You had. It was about friendship, and it was about loyalty, and it was about good versus bad.
Yeah.
Which is not very common in Japanese wrestling, But why did that match stand out? It's because there was something that was really at stake.
Absolutely.
A lot of things were at stake out here. But that's what I'm into. That's where I'm like, hell yeah, let's put that fucking cage up. I'll do anything in that cage. Absolutely, because it makes sense. And people are still, I've still got that image in my head. I was like, ooh, that's heartbreaking.
Absolutely. It was so that, I think the Tim and Natsukoi's cage match.
See the same thing, You really, those are images that stay in your head because it's not the steel cage, it's how the steel cage is used.
Yeah.
But that's where I want to go. And especially with somebody like Natsuko, who represents something that is so different from
complete opposite of you, yeah.
But we're kind of like stature-wise, we're kind of similar. We kind of look like a parallel universe, a reflection of each other. Not like Mariah and me. That's very different, But me and Natsuko, I think we always had great chemistry, and she's really good.
I think both of you are very underrated performers.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
That I don't know why that is actually, because Natsuko is very great too. But then again, yes. I mean, now she's been gone for a long time, but when she was being fantastic at Stardom. Yeah, she's one of the most over people here in Japan. But then some of her glitter and glamour doesn't really translate that well in stage, I think.
She's like a fan. I will say though, in the States, she is a fan favorite, but it's more so like people are like, well, why isn't she a single star? Why isn't she this? Like, and I think that's one thing I am learning about Japanese wrestling. People who are super over in the States might not always be super over in Japan. So it's like the favorites are different. Sometimes they are favorites, but it's been really interesting, especially being here and seeing the differences of how fans perceive certain people and factions too. Just what's popular and what's not.
Because culture is a little bit different. Here, the most important thing is fighting spirit, actually. And that's been part of Japanese culture for such a long time. That dates back to the samurais, and you never back down. And if something happens, you'd rather kill yourself with your own bare hands than be at the mercy of your opponent. So these sort of things, that's not really American culture. American culture is a lot more flashy, it's about winning, but it's about also standing on your opponent's head in the end, while Japanese don't really do that. It's about also being respectful while being a winner. So there's this little thing while everything in America seems to be a bitch fight, Which I grew up watching that. I was like, yes, when I first started, I was also like, yeah, lock off, in Japan you can't do that, it's about actually, shaking somebody else's hand in the end. It's like a nice fight, you gave everything and respect that. They're not perfect. Then go on that. And
I think that, we're at 3:53, so right on time.
Perfect.
Anything else that you wanted to say?
Anything else? No, the only thing is, my contract is up soon, so that too. I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna do after that, so we'll see. I'm definitely very interested in traveling.
And I think as an American, we're very interested in here. So
I've never been there before, so hopefully make it happen.
Well, you've never been at all?
Oh. As a wrestler, no.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
I used to live there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did say that. You said you lived in Kentucky. So.
No, but no, I've never wrestled there, so.
Oh, no. That looks like it's one way or another, whether it's with Stardom or somewhere else. That sounds like a 2024 bucket list island.
100%.
Yeah. So wrestle in there then.
Other than that, let's see what Fuji brings.